Hey, I'm Dan. I'm one of the life sciences on here at Trinity College, and this is my story. So, in high school, a lot of my friends I noticed were going to parties, and there was always talk of alcohol use and stuff like that, and that just kind of became a norm for at least my high school, and I know that's the case for a lot of different places, but I never really bought into it until about grade 11, and then it was kind of, I would party a couple times, and I would have a couple drinks, and maybe get intoxicated, but it didn't really start getting bad until my first year of university, and that's when the culture of drinking all the time was definitely more prevalent in my life. So people would be, especially during Frosh Week, people would be like, hey, we're going out to do this, and let's have a drink before we go. Let's get completely wasted before we go. And that kind of seemed to be the theme for my entire first year, where it would just, everything that we did would be a reason to drink, and that everything surrounded the idea that alcohol was the most important thing of that evening, and not the interactions that we were having. So it got pretty bad. I was partying all the time, and school kind of suffered, and then my Don that year asked me, how would you feel about being a Don? And I didn't really know much about it, but I went for it, and in my second year I was a Don. They put you through some pretty intense training, and then when the students moved in that year, that's when the perspective kind of switched, where you start to see what you were doing in a completely different light, in a light of like, why is it so important that alcohol accompanies these gatherings? And you see just how bad it can get for people, and the excuses that people use, and it became this really dark thing that I didn't want to be a part of anymore. And so I began to kind of slow down my drinking, and obviously as a Don there's a lot less drinking that can happen, but I didn't party as much because I just didn't feel like I identified with this idea that in order to be in these social environments you need to be completely not yourself, and you need to be in a place where you're not fully behind every decision that you make, and that wasn't okay with me. So in my second year as a Don, I officially made the decision to stop drinking, because I had a moment of self-reflection where I thought to myself, do I enjoy the taste of alcohol? Not really. What do I use it for? As this social buffer, as this means of getting intoxicated and being okay in this environment where that's expected. And I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. I didn't feel like I related to those values anymore. So I told myself, that's it. I don't need it. And it wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard thing to do. It wasn't like, oh, like, I'm addicted and this is a problem. I mean, for me it was a problem, absolutely, but the drinking itself was not the problem. It was the culture and the values that's placed as a society in alcohol, and I just didn't want a part of that anymore. You start to notice more how much of an issue it can be for people. Where one of my roommates said that, I don't want to go out tonight because I don't have anything to drink. That's a problem. Like, people shouldn't be expected to use this social buffer to make them feel okay in a social environment. That doesn't sound like a way to have a good time to me. So I've been sober for almost 3 years now, and haven't looked back once. So, and I don't mean to condemn anybody that chooses to drink, absolutely. But it's just, I think there needs to be an awareness of this culture that that is so okay with prioritizing alcohol as this super great thing in really important times in people's lives, like university. I'm a very avid show goer, I guess you can say, so I like to experience a lot of live music. I've been part of the Toronto music scene for a very long time, and I guess to anyone that is questioning these kinds of things, you don't need anything but yourself to have fun. You don't need to be anything different than what you are to have a good time. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody chooses their kind of vice, but alcohol is definitely not one of mine.